Hello, audiences. My name is Chang, and I am a teacher. Well, it feels great to be a teacher, actually. Waking up at 5 a.m., sometimes 6, skipping most of my breakfast, sometimes lunch, staying up until midnight to prepare for lesson plan, cannot dye my hair blue even though I really want to, etc. Well, just kidding. I really like my job. You can see the happiness on my face. And because I am a young and new teacher, students often ask me a lot of questions. Each range from how old are you? Can I call you Chị Chang? Do you have a boyfriend? Can we be friends on Facebook? Do you make TikTok videos? By the way, I do. However, the question that I get asked most commonly is about the subject that I'm teaching, literature. Miss Chang, why do I have to learn this poem by heart if I'm not going to read it ever again after the exam? Miss Chang, what is the use of prose and poetry anyways? What can I do with literature? Sound familiar? I bet you've asked yourself so. What is the use of literature? What is the use of math, chemistry, biology, and all those subjects? Overall, students want to know what is the purpose of a subject setting outside of the school context and how it can benefit them in their future career. Well, I think it is essential and absolutely normal to seek the purpose of what you're learning. In fact, I was asking myself the same thing when I was a student. Let me tell you my story. Well, back in high school, each time there was too much literature homework or project we students have to do, we would gather around and start to complain and question the usage of literature. Many of us want to become a lawyer, a doctor, a nurse, a marketer. Therefore, we share the same question. How can literature help us become who we want to be? Looking back now, this may be a generational question. My generation is asking it. Your generation is asking it. We are all wondering what is the use of literature. Well, sadly, it was not a fairy tale where we could find the answer before midnight. Me and my friend, we were not able to answer it, and we had to finish all the homework or else we would get 0. So literature remained a compulsory subject for us until years after graduation. The answer came unexpectedly. It was when we decided to meet again and went on a trip. There we had a marketer, a lawyer, a teacher, as we wished to become. Well, the trip was cozy, the weather was nice, we was wearing our beautiful silk dress, and then, here's the interesting part. When one of our friends, the marketer, saw us with braided hair, bouquets in our hands, wearing beautiful and colorful silk dress, she suddenly recited 2 lines of a Vietnamese poem to praise our beauty. It was, Nắng Sài Gòn anh đi mà chợt mát, bởi vì em mặc áo lụa Hà Đông. The sunny day in Saigon suddenly became colder because you were wearing a silk dress from Hà Đông. To give you more detail, this was not her favorite poem. Literature was not her favorite subject, and her marketing program did not include literature. But somehow at that exact moment, the weather, the beauty of our silk dress naturally evoked its melody inside her. Somehow that poem was part of her. So I came to realize 2 things after this story. The first thing is, we students were right. You don't need poetry or prose to become a nurse, an engineer. Just like how my friends mastered their field of education and became who they want to be. Because each major requires different specific skill and knowledge. So yes, your life might turn out just fine without literature. Happy? Okay, but before you get inspired by my conclusion and go home and burn all the books or decide to give up on the subject that you're hating, or parent, before you report me to the principal, let me ask you a question. Is your life all about your job? Do you work 24-hour days and 7 days a week? I think even if you're a workaholic, there will always be something I call it the moment in between. The moment when you're not doing your job, the moment when you take a break and go on a trip with your friends and families. Because we're more than a job, right? We are not just a job. Then how do you, how do I, how do we cherish that moment in between? Let's get back to my marketer friend. She could have enjoyed that moment with us without knowing the poem by Nguyen Sa, but somehow that poem appeared to make the moment more beautiful and poetic. She was able to treasure our beauty with greater emotion and greater excitement, and it's all thanks to the subject she thought to be useless, literature. So maybe that was literature's for. You might not use it all the time, but when the time comes when you want to treasure beauty, there you have it knowledge and technique to do it gracefully. So the second thing I came to realize was when you're seeking the purpose of a subject, try to look for its possibility. Now, looking back at your generation as well as mine, we can see that the usage of a subject is limited to its ability to serve us frequently or immediately. Like, if math is gonna help me buy vegetable, it is a necessity. If chemistry is not gonna help me with my future job, it's not a necessity. Meanwhile, life is diverse and the possibilities are endless. How can you know that you're not going to recite that poem ever again? How do you know that there won't be like someone pop up and then ask you to solve a math problem in exchange for $1 million? Will you regret not taking math seriously? How do you know that when you're walking down the street, there won't be a TikToker appear out of nowhere and ask you some basic random middle school or high school question? Just imagine that you cannot answer it and then that videos go viral. Will you regret not taking high school or middle school more seriously? So maybe instead of doubting it and limit it to its some practical purpose, let's try to enjoy it as if it's gonna benefit you in one way or another. Because you don't know what is out there waiting for you. Just like how that poem became part of my friends, what you learn will be part of you, and no one can take away that part. So I'm gonna leave you with one last story about my economics friend. After 5 years of studying economics in Australia, the first thing she did when she returned to Vietnam was to buy a collection of poems by Xuân Quỳnh, because somehow the love she had in Australia brought her back to the poem we studied in grade 12. You see, you don't know what is out there waiting for you and where life might get you to. So enjoy that subject so that when the time comes when you need it, even just for a minute, even just for TikTok videos, there you have it. Now that I am no longer a student, I still keep this way of seeing life. I try to see the possibility in everything I do and whoever I meet, especially my student. I try not to limit the potential in just some few areas. I try to recognize them not for what they can do now, but for what they can do in the future. I grab new chances at it as if it is gonna lead me somewhere. To be honest, I still don't know how this TED Talk is gonna benefit my teaching career, but I still do it. Because I think there is the beauty in the unknown if you give it a chance and a try. So my last message to you would be that what I strongly believe. I believe that the key to break through all limits in life is to see the possibility in whatever you do, starting with your subject at school. Thank you.